morning, everyone. I want to remind our graduates, our faculty, and to show your video, and so everyone can see you and honor you on this special graduation day. Special guest, Dr. Abdul Al-Sayed, distinguished guests, inspirational faculty and staff of the School of Social Work, and most importantly, accomplished graduates, family, and friends. Welcome to the Spring 2021 University of Michigan School of Social Work virtual commencement exercises. My name is Lynn Videka, Dean of the School of Social Work. This is a very special graduation because this class is our first Centennial graduating class. More about that in a few moments. Before we begin today's ceremony, I would like to introduce Clinical Assistant Professor Abigail Eiler to make our Indigenous Peoples Land Acknowledgement. Abigail.
Bonjour, hello, Anishna, how are you? Nigon Gamakwain Dishnakas, Abigail Eiler Minwa, Shani Tuscarora Ndao, Makwa Ndoram, Hammond Indiana Ndonjba, Canton, Michigan Undao. We acknowledge that the University of Michigan, named for Michigamme, the world's largest freshwater system and located in the Huron River watershed, was formed and has grown through connections with the land stewarded by the Nishwe, Ishkadewan, and Anishinaabe, the Three Fires people, who are the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi, along with their neighboring nations. As we work, live, and play on these territories, we must keep in mind the ongoing effects of colonization, community struggle for self-determination, colonial state violence, and the recognition of Indigenous sovereignty. Miigwech, thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Abigail. I am particularly honored to preside over this ceremony today as the dean of this outstanding school and introduce this special and historic class of students. 2021 marks the University of Michigan School of Social Work Centennial, and today's graduates represent the first graduating class of the second century of Michigan social work leadership. This class also has the distinction of living and learning through the most disruptive period of modern history, the COVID pandemic, and through the racial equality reawakening with another epidemic, that of police violence against Black and Brown people. May 2021 graduates, you are an impressive class. 4 of you are graduating today with your PhDs in social work and social science. 92 of you are graduating today with your Master of Social Work degree. 5 of you are completing dual degrees, combining social work with another discipline such as law, information, or public health. Graduates, you come from every walk of life and from diverse locations and backgrounds. You came together for a common purpose to become proud graduates of the University of Michigan School of Social Work and to become a social worker who will transform lives and change society, making our world a better place. Graduates, you represent undergraduate social work and other degrees from many institutions and colleges, including the many fine public and private institutions in Michigan and from universities across the US and the world, including California, New York, Colorado, Oregon, Massachusetts, and other nations around the globe. Graduates, 63 of you are graduating as interpersonal practice majors, 8 as community organizers, 11 as policy and evaluation specialists, and 10 as management and leadership specialists. As part of your education, You have provided nearly 85,000 hours of field internship service. You provided vital and innovative services to Michigan communities and beyond. You pivoted and adapted to telehealth and to remote work during the pandemic. Here are a few examples of your contributions to the betterment of society during the global pandemic when social work services have been needed more than ever. You co-facilitated a monthly virtual support groups for a faith-based community in order to help the community promote understanding and to practice mindfulness during this time of social and health crises. You delivered culturally responsive services to people facing the dual disorders of mental illness and substance dependency in mental health agencies in Wayne County. You provided reassuring phone calls to older adults in Detroit, and you connected them to services including vaccine information. You provided services to people managing disabilities, both in person through the pandemic, as well as online programming. You provided interventions to traumatized migrating teens crossing the border into Arizona. Class of 2021, you reached out, you raised hope, you changed society, all in the midst of a worldwide pandemic. The School of Social Work community and I are so proud to recognize your many positive contributions and accomplishments. Let's pause for a moment to show the faces of this most impressive class. You enjoyed this visual roll call of our outstanding Centennial graduating class. Now I want to ask you to take a brief moment of silence to remember those who have passed away, but who are here with us in spirit, whether a former teacher, a cherished friend, a beloved family member, or an inspirational social justice leader. At this time, I would like to acknowledge and thank our talented and dedicated faculty for providing an excellent education to our graduates. Let's thank the faculty, graduates. I know the faculty joins me in sharing our best wishes for the graduates with the hope that the future holds great promise for each and every one of you. And now, graduates, I'd like to take a moment to personally congratulate you. This last year has changed and challenged all of us in ways we could not have foreseen when you started your program. Last March, we faced the pandemic and the sudden disruption of our daily patterns in reaction to the coronavirus pandemic. Many of us lost loved ones, and the pandemic had a profound impact on each of us. Then last May, the world erupted in the wake of George Floyd's brutal killing. Since then, protesters, including many of this class, have taken to the streets in large cities and small towns, calling for racial justice and an end to racial violence. We have witnessed forward movement toward racial justice, stimulated by racial justice activism, including the conviction of the police officer who killed George Floyd. But the killings have not ended. Since George Floyd's death last May, as of April 20th of this year, at least 181 Black and Brown persons have been killed by police, including the recent deaths of Dante Wright, Adam Toledo, and Iramamber Saikat. This is a moment to work hard for racial justice. Graduates, Michigan social workers everywhere look forward to joining you to bring about positive social change. Throughout your studies, you have adapted. You have completed your studies under difficult circumstances. At the same time, you answered your calling as social workers by stepping up to the front lines, speaking out, and contributing to a better society. On behalf of the faculty and staff, we're so proud of your dedication, your achievements, and your resiliency, class of 2021. While this is not the graduation any of us imagined when you started your studies, know that you have earned the respect, the admiration, and the gratitude from the Michigan social work community and from the university. You hold a special place in the history of this school and in my heart for the courage, tenacity, and flexibility that you showed during this most unexpected year. And you, graduates, are the first graduates of the new century of Michigan social work. In the words of Maya Angelou, graduation represents a moment when the horizon leans forward, offering you space to place new steps of change. It is now your time, graduates, to take those steps and to make your contributions to the world. Congratulations. And now, I'm pleased to introduce MSW candidate Kate Weinreich, who will introduce our esteemed keynote speaker. Kate.
Thank you, Dean Videka. Dr. Abdul El-Sayed made history when he became Detroit's health commissioner at age 30, making him the youngest health official in a major American city. Today, the epidemiologist is a frequent CNN contributor, host of the podcast America Dissected, and a leading progressive activist, dubbed one of the movement's brightest young stars by Senator Bernie Sanders. As health commissioner, Dr. El-Sayed rebuilt Detroit's health department during the city's municipal bankruptcy. He led the department to multiply city funding for public health tenfold, attract millions of dollars in grants, and become a national leader in public health innovation. Dr. El-Sayed graduated with the highest distinction from the University of Michigan in 2007. He is a recipient of the U of M Bicentennial Alumni Award and the author of Healing Politics, A Doctor's Journey into the Heart of Our Political Epidemic, and Medicare for All, A Citizen's Guide. Please join me in welcoming our Spring 2021 commencement speaker, Dr. Abdul El-Sayed.
Okay, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. And to Dean Videka and the faculty of the School of Social Work, thank you for having me here today to commemorate your century of incredible leadership in social work. I'm honored to be here today to share this incredible, important moment with you. While I know that this is not the way that you had imagined graduating, this is a school of social work after all, social being the operative word. Please understand that this doesn't diminish in any way your achievements, the pride that your loved ones, your professors, this university, and I have in you. We're grateful that you've chosen this field and that you're graduating into a time that absolutely needs you. It needs your compassion and your empathy, your belief in justice, and the people that justice too often misses. We need you now more than ever. It's fitting that in this time of pandemics, of virus and racism, that you should have chosen an epidemiologist to offer some remarks upon your graduation. But rather appropriately, I am a social epidemiologist. That's not just because I think I'm rather interesting at cocktail parties. It's because, like you, I found a rare combination of fascination with people, how they think, how they act, how they engage with one another, and how those thoughts and attitudes and behaviors sum up to create the living, breathing societies in which we live. And more importantly, I found a passion in empowering and supporting people. I learned that passion from the first real social worker I ever met. Now, she never had the opportunity to get the training, as you all have had the privilege and honor of having, and we're celebrating today. But she was a social worker by comportment. Like us, she was fascinated with people and passionate about serving them. And she was my Teta Soad. By far, she was the wisest, most intelligent person I've ever met. What she had in natural gifts, she lacked in privilege. She was the 9th of 14 children who grew up in a working class Alexandria, Egypt household in the mid 20th century. She never got to go to school, not one day. She raised 6 of her own children from among 8 to whom she'd given birth. 2 died before the age of 1. My Teta knew and understood pain, and that's why she was so good at understanding it and healing it in others. And perhaps more importantly, she understood the human alchemy by which we forge purpose and meaning and even joy from our pain. I'd spend many summers with her as a kid when I'd leave my sleepy suburb not far from here for the homeland of my parents in Egypt. My Teta never got to step foot in an institution, never had the opportunity to nurture the precocious mind she had. Because she never had that opportunity, she understood how valuable it was. My grandmother couldn't read a book. She could read a person better than anyone I know. When I'd spend summers in Egypt, she'd watch me playing with my cousins, and she'd pull me aside. She said, "That one there," she'd point to one of my cousins, "she's smarter than you. And that one over there, taller and better looking. That one's nicer, softer hearted. That one, kinder, more helpful. That one, more athletic." See, she knew that my American was showing, and she wanted to bring me back down to size. Which is exactly what she did. And I'd inevitably ask at some point, "All right, so what do I have going for me?" She'd say, "Habibi, you've got the best gift of all. You've got opportunities." It would take me 15 hours to get to Egypt every summer. And in those 15 hours, I didn't have the language to talk about it then, but I crossed 10 years in life expectancy. Those 10 years, they were written into the bodies of the people that I'd meet. The back that hunched just a little bit deeper, the crevices in the crow's feet in a smile, the hacking cough in someone in her 50s. And of course, the babies who died before they grow up to be your aunt or uncle. The ones who accounted for my grandmother's infant mortality rate of 25% and the indelible hole in her heart. What's wild, though, is that I didn't have to go 15 hours to travel 10 years difference in life expectancy. I could do that just by going south for 15 minutes into any neighborhood in the city of Detroit. I wanted to understand that. More importantly, I wanted to do something about it. Why is it that in the society we've built that we allow people just living 15 minutes away from each other to have such different life experiences? I followed my interest in understanding the way that society shapes our health into social epidemiology. But because I didn't want to just document that, I wanted to do something about it, I became a doctor too. See, here's what I don't tell you. Medicine is one part physiological engineering and one part social work. And as I'm sure any of you who've worked in a hospital setting can attest, we doctors don't always do the social work part that well. But there's a reason I don't practice medicine today. And that's because I realized that the social work part, that's the most important part. I probably should have just done an MSW, but hey, I found my way to an MSW graduation somehow. But I learned that lesson the hard way, watching how our healthcare system chewed up and spit out people whom it deemed worthless before they ever stepped foot in the door. After all, if health insurance is your ticket in, and we decided that some people aren't worth insuring, we're excluding millions from basic healthcare. Everyone I'd speak to inside the system, doctors, hospital executives, even nurses, seemed either satisfied, content, or too overworked to do anything about it. That is, except the social workers. They'd work and rework the system to find new ways to fix and twist this broken system, even for just a moment, to make sure that someone who needed care got it. They'd do their best to MacGyver the system, figuring out how to get someone covered, even if it was with the bureaucratic equivalent of a paperclip and a chewed piece of bubblegum. And yet, every small victory was the exception that proved the rule. Despite their heroics, the heroics that social workers pulled off to protect their patients from it, the system was still broken. And I decided that rather than being the kind of doctor who worked in the system, I wanted to be the kind who worked on the system. I chose the social work side of medicine. I think often about what my teta would think. She passed nearly 2 decades ago. Despite never having had access to an institution at all, she understood implicitly the value of the opportunities that they afford. And at the same time, the symbol of her life, it reminds us of their cost. As someone whose opportunities included walking through some of the most hallowed halls of higher education, serving in government, running for public office, and standing upon the outsized platform that the media can offer, the most influential person in my life remains someone who could never read. We don't often think about it, but these institutions, the central measure of our opportunities in the society, they often come with a hidden cost. They teach us to think the way that they think, believe in what they believe in, even when it's not how we think or what we believe in. Despite so many opportunities my teta was denied, she never had to ask what an institution might say or think about her. Her morals in that way were uncompromised. Implied in my teta's lessons all those years ago is that I had an opportunity, and more importantly, that opportunity came with the responsibility for those who did not. My cousins, smarter, taller, better looking, kinder, softer hearted, they deserved everything I got. They never got it. I did. And what will I have done with it? So rather than hear anything I have to offer you today, I bring you the wisdom of my grandmother, the first social worker I ever met. Today, we celebrate your opportunity, but what will you do with it? In choosing this field, you've already chosen a life lived for others, and we thank you. But what more do you owe those opportunities and the people who don't have them? All of you will likely work in institutions. They'll ask you to make up the difference between their profit margin and their mission statement, asking you to make systems disfigured by the uncompromising commitment to profit stretch to accommodate that pursuit of profit, the people that pursuit of profit requires it to fail. I'm going to say that again. They're going to ask you to make systems disfigured by the uncompromising commitment to profit stretch to accommodate the people that pursuit of profit require those systems to fail. There'll be people like my teta, whose value by society's misfigured measures of worth, by money or power or education, just won't register. But who, by any human measure, love, inspiration, spirit, are worth so much to the people who rely on that love, inspiration, and spirit. Society excuses its ignorance by telling us that these people are undeserving. They don't work hard enough. They haven't earned the basic means of a dignified life. That's the same narrative society wields to justify its systemic racism, or the inequality born of corporate capitalism run in overdrive. But those people like my teta, their labor is perhaps the most profound. They're someone else's social worker. Their lives absolutely matter. And in your role, you'll bear witness to their work, their struggle, their sacrifice, and their worth. If all you did was to care for, uplift, and empower them, it would be noble work indeed. But what more do you owe? I believe you owe them your voice. You have to speak their truths to a society and its institutions that would rather not hear them. And as social workers, it's not enough to be there to catch the people our systems fundamentally cast aside. Instead, your work has to include making sure they never get cast aside in the first place. That means lifting their voices through yours, changing the narrative about how we think about, talk about, and engage with people and the resources, power, and access that we deny them. Make no mistake, speaking truth to power is hard, it's dangerous, and there may be costs. But that's the work part of social work. Social work is also societal work. I finally found my way to this work, and the kind I think my teta was challenging me to take up all those years ago. The kind that she wanted for me, the kind that she did for me. You've gotten here far faster, but there's far further yet to go. And the journey, it'll be long. Your professors and mentors, your families and loved ones will all be here to walk alongside you. Lean on us, because we're counting on you. Be proud of your achievement, of your choices, and the opportunities they've opened up to you. But I hope you'll always remember my Teta's question. What are you going to do with it? In the words of former University of Michigan professor Mary Sue Coleman, for today, goodbye. For tomorrow, good luck, and forever, go blue.
Thank you so much, Dr. El-Sayed. That was an inspirational message. Thank you for sharing your personal journey and adding so much thought and inspiration to this day of celebration. Thank you very much. Graduates, this is the moment you've been waiting for. At this time, I would like to present the newest graduating University of Michigan School of Social Work class of May 2021. We will begin the individual presentation of our PhD in social work and social science, followed by our Master of Social Work graduates. Professor William Elliot will read the PhD candidate names, and Professors Justin Hodge and Shanna Kattari will read the MSW graduates' names. Graduates, as your name is read, we invite you to ask a family member or a special friend who's with you to place your hood over your head as a symbolic gesture of this significant accomplishment. Professor Elliot and MSW candidate Sarah Bibbey will also share information about the degree requirements for each of the programs, so all can understand our graduates' most impressive accomplishments. And now, here is Professor William Elliot.
The Joint Doctoral Program in Social Work and Social Science awards a joint PhD degree in social work in one of 4 social science disciplines: anthropology, political science, psychology, or sociology. The Joint Doctoral Program prepares our doctoral students for teaching and research careers through the advancement of knowledge about social problems, social change, social interventions, and social welfare. Our curriculum integrates comprehensive graduate training in a specific social science discipline with advanced studies in research and social work. It is an honor and a privilege for me to present the graduates of the Joint Doctoral Program in Social Work and Social Science. Dr. Janelle Goodwill, PhD in Social Work and Psychology, dissertation, a multi-method analysis of stigma, social support, and suicide ideation among Black college students. Congratulations. Dr. Natasha Johnson, PhD in Social Work and Psychology, dissertation, you must work twice as hard for half as much. Racial socialization, racial identity, and racism awareness in adolescence. Dr. Amanda Rodriguez-Newhall, PhD in Social Work and Psychology, dissertation, examining the impacts of youth dialogue, anti-racist behavior, social responsibility, and civic habitus. Dr. Heather Tidrick, Social Work and Anthropology, dissertation, Roma Integration Institutional Practices with Roma Gypsies in Post-Socialist Hungary. Congratulations to you all.
Hello, everyone. The Master of Social Work at the University of Michigan is a rigorous professional graduate training program that requires talent and dedication. MSW students all share the common goal of devoting themselves to working alongside the most socially and economically disadvantaged people, and to furthering social justice. MSW students must complete advanced coursework in a practice method and practice area concentration to provide them with specialized knowledge in their chosen area of study. They also complete elective coursework to enrich and diversify their professional knowledge. Additionally, MSW students make significant contributions to organizations by completing several hundred hours in field placements related to their area of study. We will now meet the Master of Social Work graduates. Welcome and congratulations, everyone.
Marley Abramowitz, Madison Adams, Simeon Natan Berger Adler, Master of Social Work, Jewish Communal Leadership Program. Lindsay Anderson. Monica Anderson, Master of Social Work, Master of Public Policy. Joe Andreska. Morgan Apostle. Rebecca Barks. Rebecca Belkin, Master of Social Work, Jewish Communal Leadership Program. Meredith Bess Berlin, Master of Social Work, Jewish Communal Leadership Program. Cassidy Marie Bernhardt. Sarah Bibbey. Courtney B. Bushnell, Master of Social Work, Jewish Communal Leadership Program. Gabriella Cadena. Lavella Kalika. Jeanette Studer Canning. Emily Clark. Allie Cope. Larry Leo B. Davis. Bridget Donnelly. Sarah Suzanne Napier Dunning Smith. Sadet Durmaz. Taylor Eastman. Zoe Iber, Master of Social Work, Master of Education. Cassie Lynn Elder. Hannah Fick. Hillary Forrest, Master of Social Work, Jewish Communal Leadership Program. Samuel Francie. Aaron Fries. Meredith Elizabeth Frohoff. Lisa Gomez. Rachel Grelock. Susanna Haidar. Peter Holland. Young Huang. Juan Carlos Huregi, Master of Social Work, Master of Public Health. Rachel Gerard Craley. Kayla Capin, Master of Social Work, Jewish Communal Leadership Program. Megan Keeler. Rudy Kelly. Lauren Koss. Katie Krajewski Kidd. Emily Koo. Hey-Jin Lee. Yvonne Lee. Daniela Lopez Vivas.
Sarah Melavenda. Jamie Ariel Mathis. Gwen McMahon, dual masters in social work and sports management. Colin Miller, Zoe Mittman. Alexandra Moore. Tyler Blair Moreno. Ricky Morrow Spitzer. Danielle Norman. Casey O'Neill. Sophie Ordway. Alex Jesse Ortiz. Donovan Park. Katie Parks. Jamie Elizabeth Payton. Sally Jane Plank. Bronwyn Elizabeth Prater. Krista Racevic. Kristen Rao. Renata Rind. Matthew Reed Rodriguez. Abigail Rose. Emma Rosenberg. Maya Ross. Tiara Runyon. Colin Ryan. Alexander Saleh. Abigail Shetley. Chelsea Samararo. Anne Schenkel. Nathan Shepard. Jerron Simmons. Dominique Sims. Yu Sung. Tressa Stapleton. Annie Strickland. Michael Stipa, Masters of Social Work, Masters in Civil Engineering. Precious Thomas. Aaron Vittum. Claire Webster. Kate Weinreich. Emma Weinstein Levy. Quantanice Williams. Amy L. Wood. Tristan Woodsmith. Kihi Yu. Cynthia Zapien.
Thank you, Professors Elliot, Hodge, and Kattari, and MSW graduate Sarah Bibbey. It is now time for the conferral of degrees. I now invite the doctoral candidates to please stand. Yes, stand. On behalf of the University of Michigan Board of Regents, I confer upon you the Doctor of Philosophy degree in Social Work and Social Science. Let's applaud our PhD graduates. And now, I invite the MSW class of May 2021 to please stand. On behalf of the University of Michigan Board of Regents, I confer upon you the Master of Social Work degree. Let's applaud our graduates. Graduates, one more thing. Now, please move your tassels from the right side of your cap to the left as a symbolic gesture that you are now alumni of the University of Michigan. Congratulations. We will scan the audience once again to show our wonderful group of graduates. Let's applaud those MSW graduates. That was beautiful. Now, graduates, we have a special feature of today's Centennial graduation. And I hope that this will be an inspiration for what you can achieve in your careers. We will celebrate right now 4 distinguished Centennial alumni who were selected by the University of Michigan School of Social Work Alumni Board of Governors and by the university for special recognition, including an honorary degree for one. These alumni careers celebrate what you can contribute to society as a Michigan social work alum. These alumni have paved the way and they represent the highest ideals of Michigan social work. Our first recognition is for Adora S. Morton, who graduated from University of Michigan with a certificate in social work in 1928. In 1928, this courageous social work student crossed racial barriers to become the first Black student to live in the University of Michigan Mosher Jordan Hall. Adora Morton worked at the Children's Aid Society, and her student experience paved the way for generations of social work activist students at the University of Michigan. We pay tribute to her and honor her memory. Tony Salazar earned his MSW in 1975, and he dedicated his career to rebuilding distressed urban communities with a focus on housing and communities. He specialized in developing innovative housing projects, such as transit villages, earthquake recovery projects, and the first LGBTQ senior housing development in the United States. Tony was inducted into the Affordable Housing Hall of Fame. Yes, there is such a Hall of Fame. And he is currently an adjunct professor at the University of Southern California Price School of Public Policy, where he teaches affordable housing and urban development. Let's acknowledge the great accomplishments of Tony Salazar. Our next awardee is Gary Anderson, who earned his PhD at the University of Michigan School of Social Work and in Social Work and Social Science in 1976. Gary has spent his career as an advocate for children and youth. He's been a faculty member at Michigan State University, and I'm guessing that he may have taught some of the MSU graduates who are graduating with a MSW today. To highlight just a few of Gary Anderson's accomplishments, he's been the editor of a major journal, Child Welfare. He has been the director of the Michigan State University School of Social Work, and he has served on Michigan's Governor's Task Force on Child Abuse and Neglect. For decades, he has led the state-funded child welfare in-service training program, educating thousands of child welfare workers and supervisors in Michigan, making a deep contribution to the children in our state. Let's recognize Gary and his many accomplishments. And finally, at today's university commencement ceremony at noon, and I know a number of you will be attending either in person or online, James Toy, MSW 1981, a legendary activist who founded the University Spectrum Center, which serves LGBTQIA students, and he is a lifelong advocate for human rights and respect for people of all sexual and gender identities. Jim will receive the honorary degree, the highest recognition the university can offer, Doctor of Humane Letters, for his society-changing work on behalf of gay, lesbian, queer, and transgender people everywhere. Let's applaud these illustrious alums who are an inspiration to us every day. We are proud of these alumni, and we are confident that today's graduates will go on to make their own amazing and unique impact, as each of these graduates has. Graduates, please remember, your graduation doesn't mark the end of your relationship with the University of Michigan School of Social Work. I hope that you will stay connected. I invite you to stay connected and engage with the school as alumni, and join fellow alumni in the numerous social and professional opportunities offered by the school's Alumni Association and the Office of Development and Alumni Relations. Okay, graduates, it's now your turn. It's time to thank your family, your friends, your partners, your mentors, those who have stood by and supported you and given you encouragement to make the great accomplishments that you have made, as well as to reach your educational goals. Give them a hug, a kiss, a wave, and your big applause. Here's to the family members and all the friends and loved ones who have supported our graduates. Many of you graduates will be joining your fellow U of M graduates at noon for the university commencement, either online or for a unique opportunity to experience spring commencement from the stands of Michigan Stadium, socially distanced and without family or friends, but certainly they can live stream as well. I hope you're going to continue the celebration with family and friends throughout the day. We are going to close our ceremony today with an inspirational message read, an inspirational poem read by Tyler Moreno, MSW. Congratulations to you, graduates, and go blue.
Thanks, Dean Videka. I appreciate it. I'm going to read the poem on being a social worker. Being a social worker means you will never be bored, though you may often be frustrated. You will be surrounded by challenges, so much to do in so little time. You will carry immense responsibility and may feel small in the face of it all. You will see people at their worst and you will see people at their best. You will receive resounding praise, and you will also be harshly criticized. You will see life begin, and you will see life end. You will advocate for justice, and you will need to continue to advocate even when progress seems slow and small. You will experience devastating failures, and you will experience resounding triumphs. You will cry a lot. You will laugh a lot. You will stand against racism, and you will advocate for the oppressed. You will pursue options when there seem to be none. You will serve clients, organizations, communities, society. You will know what it is to be human, to be humane, and to be of humankind. You will never cease to be amazed at people's capacity for love, courage, and endurance. You will step into people's lives and you will make a difference. Endings and beginnings exist as one, which is why a social worker's job is never truly done. Our hearts and our minds are bound as one as we move through together in this time and space, collecting the shards of light that desire to be found. Social workers, strength-based seekers, social justice advocates, world changers. So hail to the graduating class of the School of Social Work. We honor and celebrate you. Thank you.